All right. If you could start over with that great intro that you just did, and then you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Fiona Dawson. I'm the Director of Information Systems here at the Department of Procurement Services, and I'm going to share my screen with you and go through eProcurement 101 with you. And are you seeing the slideshow?
Yes, ma'am. Just put it
Okay,
in the slide.
yep,
Yeah. You
okay,
perfect.
great. So first we're just going to go over our goals kind of quickly. And for this workshop, what is e-procurement? It's going to be an overview. I'm going to show you how to access the iSupplier portal and online bidding, and how to register to be a vendor, how to view bids and solicitations, how to respond to bids and solicitations, and then we will go over questions at the end from the Q&A panel. So DPS mission statement is DPS is the contracting authority for the procurement of goods and services for the city of Chicago. We work together as a team and with our customers to guarantee an open, fair, and timely process by establishing, communicating, and enforcing superior business practices. So e-procurement was established in 2017. It's the city's financial management procurement system. We call it FMPS here within the department. It's an Oracle-based application, and it's web technology that allows us to acquire goods and services. The iSupplier portal is a portion of FMPS that's a full service resource for vendors doing business with the city of Chicago. All DPS bids, RFPs, and RFQs are now electronic and are advertised through eProcurement. So we do also put out ads in the Tribune for all of our bids and RFPs and RFQs that are going out, but all bid submissions can only be submitted and received electronically using the iSupplier portal. So you must be a registered vendor in order to access the iSupplier portal, which is our online e-procurement system for all purchasing activities. As a registered vendor in the iSupplier portal, you're able to view and respond to bids and solicitations online. You can also view any of your orders, payments, invoices, both past and present. And this tool will also allow you to update your company information. So if you need to update your contact name, your email address, your physical address, your phone number, all of those things are a self-service tool within the iSupplier portal. So to assist vendors with the transition to the iSupplier portal and the online bidding process, the city developed the eProcurement microsite. And this is a website that's basically a how-to manual for eProcurement. So the web address for this is www.chicago.gov/eProcurement. So you can visit that portal to gain there's how-to steps and everything you need to show, and that's what we're going to be going through, all those different tabs and all the different resources that are available on that website. We would also like to stress to you that your information is secure. The city takes security seriously and ensures that all information is encrypted. The city uses HTTPS protocol for secure communication. Bids, solicitations are not visible to employees or other vendors prior to bid opening, so your active bid is secure. So that just means when you do submit a bid via the iSupplier portal, no one can see any information that you have put in that bid until we actually open the bid. And the bid openings are then open for the public to view on YouTube, and the recordings are also housed there, so you can always watch bid openings that have previously occurred. So login and registration. If you're an existing vendor who has done business with the city and you have a vendor number, but you don't have an iSupplier account, you can click on the iSupplier invitation button to direct your request to customer support. If you're a new vendor, so you've never done business with the city of Chicago and you don't have a vendor number, you would click on the new vendor registration button. In order to become a vendor with the city of Chicago and to register, you need to provide a W-9 that has your FEIN or tax ID attached as a PDF. So if you hit that new vendor registration button and you fill in all of your information, but you don't attach a W-9, we'll send it back to you and ask you for further information because we need to verify that information matches. So your legal business name that you enter in the form must match what's on the W-9, or your registration request will be returned. So that's an important detail to remember when you're registering. So here's what the iSupplier portal looks like. This is the microsite. This is the main homepage. So oftentimes here on the homepage, you're going to see announcements. For instance, about the workshops that we're having, like the one we're having today. There's also many other workshops that are hosted, both by the Department of Procurement Services and then also specifically for delegate agencies. This would also be the place where we would post if there's any changes or updates to the system. They would be here in this announcement in this like banner portion. So that's what your home screen is going to look like. The next tab that we're going to go through is the login and registration tab. And this is where the vendor registration process can begin. As we discussed before, there's two separate processes depending on whether you're an existing vendor with the city of Chicago or not. If your business has previously done business with Chicago Housing Authority or the Park District, public schools, CTA, that doesn't mean that you're a registered vendor with the city of Chicago. So that is important to remember that they're all separate entities and you have to register with the city independently of one of those sister agencies. So this is for a new vendor registration. You've never done business with the city. You would click on this big orange button here that says new vendor registration. If you have any questions or you're confused, you can click on the how to register button, and that will give you some more information. But here again, this is where you would enter all of your information, name of business, address, FEIN number, and this is where you would attach your W-9 so that we can verify that you are who you say you are. In the next tab is current bids and solicitations. So this is where you can go if you're interested in submitting a bid or just seeing what opportunities are out there in the iSupplier portal for you to either bid on or maybe an opportunity for you to be a subcontractor or just see what the city is putting out to bid currently. So also on this page, there is a link for here the pre-bid and pre-sub conference attendees. This is where you can see what vendors have gone to some of the pre-bids for some of the bids that you might be interested in. So the pre-bid conferences are hosted by DPS and they go over the bid, what's included in the specification, and give you more information. So that would give you a good idea of what other vendors were interested, possibly an opportunity for you to be a subcontractor with one of those vendors could come out of viewing those documents. Here, there's also a link for non-e-procurement bids and solicitation opportunities. These would be opportunities that other departments may have. Other agencies sometimes ask us to post things. But all of the DPS things have to be bid online, so they wouldn't be contained here, but you might be able to view opportunities for sister agencies in this location. So when you click on the orange button for the current bid opportunities, this would take you to this page. And this is where you can download the bid opportunity list. By clicking on this link, it's going to open up a PDF for you, and that's going to list all of the current items that are open for bidding. And this is same page again, e-procurement bid solicitation opportunities. By clicking on this link, it's going to bring you to the abstract page. And the abstract page, similar to the PDF, this is the interactive portion of it. This is where you can see all of the different bids that are currently active, the department that's putting out the solicitation, the title of it, the advertisement date. You can see what the due date is for supplier responses, when it opens, when it closes, your deadline for questions. All of this information is contained here on the abstract page. And by clicking on the details button, this little link that's right here for each item, that will take you to the next screen here, which is going to open up. It's going to give you some of those highlighted information that is already on the abstract page, and then some further details. By clicking on that detail page, you also then have the opportunity to click on this PDF file, which is going to open up the solicitation for you. You don't have to be logged in to view the PDF and to view the solicitation, but in order to bid on the solicitation, to get information, if there's an addendum that goes out, or if you have a question and you want to submit something through online discussion, then you do have to log in. But to simply view this information and view the PDF, you do not. So here in the top corner, there's a login button on this screen. So and you click on the login button, it's gonna take you to this City of Chicago login page. So if you already have a username and password, you would enter this here. If you are a new supplier that just recently received a link to join the iSupplier portal, you get a temporary password in your email. And upon entering that temporary password, you're going to be prompted to create your own password. And this is something that then would be your permanent password until you chose to reset it. So everyone that has access to the iSupplier vendor portal should have these two envelopes on their main home screen when they log in. One folder is for the iSupplier portal with invoice creation, and the next folder is for City of Chicago online bidding. So if you log in, especially if you're a new vendor or an existing vendor, and you don't see both of these envelopes, it's important to reach out to us. Because if you don't have both envelopes, then that will impact your ability to submit bids. So always want to make sure that you have those two envelopes for you. If you clicked on City of Chicago Supplier Portal with invoice creation, this is the screen that you would see. You would have these tabs that you could see your orders, billing, admin choices. So you can add an address, you can add contacts, you can set up someone else within your business to also have an iSupplier account. And you can do all of that from this admin tab that you get to through the iSupplier portal with invoice creation folder. And so you also see this work list here. The work list would show you if you were working on any bids, say you had reviewed a bid and you started working on entering some information, bids in the line, or attaching documents that were necessary for bid submittal. That would show up here in your work list as a draft. Currently, there's nothing here because there's nothing working on. You would also get notifications here if your company received a payment or an order. Those would all show up here in the work list. Now we're going to talk about the City of Chicago online bidding portion. When you click on this little folder that's the City of Chicago online bidding, it expands your selections to sourcing. And when you expand sourcing, you're going to see sourcing homepage and a work list. Work list is just going to be a duplicate of what you see here on the home screen. But if you click on the sourcing homepage, it's going to bring you to this screen with the negotiations tab. And this is where you can search for new bids that you want to bid on, or to view responses that you may have submitted, or to view your draft responses. So we'll just go through what some of these things in the table mean. So a response number is the number received when a solicitation has been saved. So this response number is specific to you. This isn't a generic number that's everyone would have. This is your specific response number for your company and for you personally as an employee or owner of that company. Response status. So if it's an active bid submitted, if it's active, that means the bid has been submitted. If it's draft, that means you have started to submit a bid and saved it, but you haven't submitted it. So maybe you've gone into the RFQ and you've started filling out some information in the lines, but then you had to stop what you were doing. So you saved it, but you haven't completed it yet. So that's going to be draft. And then if you ever see resubmission required, that means you may have already submitted a bid or began a draft, but an addendum has been issued for that RFQ. So an addendum can be many things. It could be a change in maybe one of the lines that's being advertised. It could be a change to the time that you have to submit the bid. There could be clarifications to some things that were in the specification. It could have answers to questions that have been asked during the pre-bid or via online discussion. So any of these things plus many more can cause an addendum to be created for an RFQ. And in order for your bid to go back to an active status, you have to acknowledge receipt of that addendum. And we'll look at that a little bit later. Supplier site here is not used by DPS. Solicitation number is the RFQ number. So whenever you hear those two terms, they mean the same thing. They're this number that's down here, 6443, for instance. This one has an addendum that was issued, so that's why you see that (1), whereas you don't see that here. The title is the name or description of the project, and the preceding digits you see here is the spec number. So the title will always be spec number, colon, and then the description of the project. Type is always going to be RFQ. That's just what it defaults to. The time left will indicate the number of days or hours remaining before the due date. So that would indicate how much time you have left to submit your bid. The monitor you can click on, it's a little graph and it will just show you the activity for the RFQ. Unread messages. Messages are sent via online discussion by the DPS procurement specialist conducting the RFQ. So if there is an addendum issued, you will also receive a notification in your online discussion that an addendum has been put out for this and prompting you to then go in and acknowledge receipt of that addendum. So in the negotiations tab, there's two ways that you can search for an RFQ that you want to submit a bid for. The first way is by the title, and you can use the specification number to search for a bid by using title. So you would choose title here from the dropdown, which is the default that it is when you first go into the negotiations tab. And then you would just enter this spec number that it's at the beginning of the title. The second way that you can choose to search is by selecting number from the dropdown and then entering the RFQ number. Once you have searched for the RFQ or the title, whatever you choose, the search is going to come up and you're going to get your response here. So now in order to actually respond to the solicitation, you would select the box and click respond. Once you do that, this is going to be the first screen that you see with terms and conditions. You have to agree to these terms and conditions. You can read the terms, check the box that you have read and accepted the terms and conditions. And then in the right lower hand side, you're going to click the box that says accept. In order to move forward with the bid, you have to complete these steps. And this will also make sure that your name is added to the takeout list. So then you'll be listed as one of the bidders for this project, and you'll receive those notifications if there is an addendum or a clarification that goes out. So these are very important steps to take to make sure that you're on the takeout list. Once you have accepted that, this is what your screen is going to look like. You're going to see two tabs here at the top of the screen, the header tab and the lines tab. The header tab is going to provide you with some information about the bid, some things that may be required, and some information about how long the contract term is, what type of contract it is. In this case, it's a commodity. And then also in this header tab, there's also going to be questions for you to answer and respond to. You need to provide information about your EDS number. You need to answer all of these questions. This is kind of like a checklist for you to make sure that you know you have to attach things or bid incentives that may be available. So you have to answer yes or no for all of these questions. So sometimes if you're submitting a bid, sometimes you might miss a question and you get an error message. So if you're on this page and you get an error message when you're trying to move forward, it generally means that you've missed a question somewhere. So go back through, make sure you haven't missed anything. Sometimes these sections you can expand and collapse them. So make sure that you have expanded everything and answered all of the questions, because you won't be able to submit your bid without answering all of the questions. This is also where you're going to add any attachments. So if you have a bid that you have to attach that's signed, or insurance requirements that you have to submit, whatever the particular RFQ, whatever this particular solicitation is looking for, this is where you would attach those documents. You would click on the add attachment button, then choose file, then you can navigate to wherever you have the file saved and hit save to ensure that the document is attached to your bid submittal. Once you have completed all the requirements and you've attached your necessary documents, then you can come to the lines tab. On the lines tab is where you're going to submit the pricing for whatever lines may be on this solicitation. For this example, we have 2 lines, so you have to submit information for each line. If you leave it blank, you'll receive an error message. So you have to make sure that that information that there is some quantity within the field. Otherwise, you'll continue to get an error message and you will be unable to submit your bid. Once you have completed all the information and you've hit save, you'll see this little confirmation notification. And this is your quote number, which is unique to you. And it'll say what RFQ it is and the title, and it's been saved as draft. If you missed a line or a question, instead of getting this confirmation, you would get an error message. So make sure you get a confirmation and a quote number before you leave the system. If you have to work on something else and you're just getting started and you're going to come back to it, just make sure that you save it. So this is how you can get to online discussion. From the negotiations page, you'll see this little actions and the online discussion, and you would click go. And this is what it would look like here. You can see you've received messages. This message is about an addendum, and they've attached the addendum for you to view here. And this is also how you can send a new message. So you got the addendum, or you want to ask a question or a clarification, it would be here in the new message button. So if there was an addendum, this is the kind of warning and notification you would receive telling you the negotiation 6196 has amendments that require your acknowledgement. So you would click yes to acknowledge that you have viewed the addendum, and then your bid would go back from resubmission required to active. Make sure you completed the electronic signature. If you didn't do this, your submission is still in draft and it's not valid. Make sure that your quote status is active. That means that you have submitted the bid, completed all the requirements and the lines, and this is a good bid for DPS to receive. You will receive a confirmation email the next day at 7:30 a.m. So you submit the bid today, and the next morning you're going to get a confirmation email of your quote submission. It will have your business name and that quote number that we saw previously at the top of the screen. We still remind you that you should check for addendum that could be issued after you receive your confirmation. And that would be indicated you would probably get an online discussion and your quote status would change to resubmission required. So it's always good to just check back after you've submitted your quote to make sure there's no more addenda that have been issued. Responses must be submitted through eProcurement, so surrogate or paper responses are not allowed. You must acknowledge in the system and provide on the provided acknowledgement forms, if any, if there are addenda issued. Fill out the PDF form, scan, and upload as an attachment. So if there are any other attachments that are required, make sure that those are in there to be responsive. Also, fill in the total price in the line provided. Submit detailed pricing on the sheets provided if there are sheets provided. For RFPs, so if you're bidding on a professional services and everything is being attached, you can enter 0.01 on the pricing sheets provided. If you're responding to a solicitation that contains groups, so a lot of times some services may be grouped into A, B, or C, or something similar, and there's a group you only want to bid on group A and B, but not C, because the system does require you to enter an amount. To enter a no bid for one of the groups, you would enter 9 zeros and a 1 for all lines in that group. That information would also be in the solicitation when it goes out as a reminder. But just so you know, be mindful of that with groups. That's something that's a little bit different. If you need assistance, You can contact the eProcurement Help Desk at 312-744-HELP or email customer support at cityofchicago.org for assistance. Just as a note, if you contact the help desk, their hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. But they will follow up with you and get back to you during working hours if you email or contact them after hours. But it is important, if there is a bid, a solicitation that's out there that you're interested in, to make sure to give yourself plenty of time to complete all of the steps in e-procurement, to give yourself time to attach things and answer all the questions and fill in all the lines, and to give yourself a little time so that if you do run into an issue, you have time to reach out to the help desk and we have time to help you. Because we would like to make sure that as many people that can bid and want to bid have the opportunity to bid. So giving yourself a little bit of extra time, especially if it's your first time submitting a bid, please start the process, the sooner the better. So going back here to the iSupplier portal, we're going to look at the online training materials tab. The online training materials, there's a lot of step-by-step guides. There's written guides, there's videos. This is a great place that has lots of tools to assist you in the bidding process and also to assist you in your registration and profile management. So it shows you, there's videos for how to update your address, update your contact information, organization details, how to inactivate contacts if you have people that were at the company that are no longer at the company and you want to deactivate that account. We also have lots of training material on how to, review solicitations, print them, reply to them, submit a response. All of these tools are here for you, so you don't have to reach out to the help desk if you don't want to. A lot of information is here for you as well. You can access the help page on the iSupplier portal. Again, the phone number for the help desk is 312-744-HELP, or you can email customer support at cityofchicago.gov. And the training materials that we just went over can also be very useful. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
Thanks so much, Fiona. And I don't see any questions in the Q&A. I mean, not the Q&A, the chat panel. Personally, to me, they generally send that way. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A panel, and we will definitely answer them for you. I am going to give just a few extra minutes for folks to actually do that. And then we will proceed on. But before I end, I want to make sure that people are aware that every year we have a procurement symposium that takes place in the fall. This time we won't be able to have it in August as we normally do. We're going to have it September 5th due to the DNC, but we will have it at Malcolm X on September 5th from 8 to 3 p.m. We have over 80 different exhibitors. We have a host of great leaders that will be talking in our auditorium with various presentations from access to capital. We have a exciting presentation from U.S. Bank. they're going to do, talking about the various uh, uh, collaborations they have had with various communities within the city of Chicago. And we have a special performance and presentation from the Chicago Sinfonetta. And along with our general presentations from SBA, federally, they're going to talk about some funding projects that they have going on. And our leaders roundtable that we normally have with various leaders on there, giving great tips and information on how you can get in and bid on certain things, and about the actual bidding process, and tips you need to know. Along with all of that great information, we have breakout sessions that you can participate in if you just need that fundamental um, training on how to become certified, and you want to know more about our small programs, our jock programs, and whatnot. You can come to those breakout sessions to get more of a hands-on, smaller audience type help, where you can ask questions in a smaller setting. So that again will take place on September 5th. We look forward to seeing all of you there. Go ahead and sign up, um, because we don't want to close without you. You can sign up at chicago.gov/2024 symposium. Again, that's chicago.gov/2024 symposium. With that said, I don't see any of any questions at all. Fiona, did you get any questions personally to you? Fiona, can you?
Sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay.
Somebody has their hand up.
That was a person that said she couldn't hear.
Oh,
But that might be her volume because I heard you.
okay.
So maybe she got that. Is there anyone else that has any questions before we close? Well, if not, we want to say thank you for joining us for today's session. I want to give a special thanks to Fiona Dawson for giving the presentation on e-procurement, and we look forward to seeing you at our 2024 Procurement Symposium, September 5th at Malcolm X. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will talk with you soon. Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you. Have a good day.